I'd like to call the meeting to order, the Charter Review Commission meeting of Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. Roll call.
Balmer.
Here.
Craig.
Here.
Deeth.
Here.
Denning.
Here.
DeRue.
Here.
Hayek.
Here.
Kuchera.
Here.
Maliabo. Patel.
Here.
Before we start, I'd like to apologize if my voice is a little scratchy. We got our flu shots and COVID shots Friday, and then I get a cold. So that's why I've got Halls, cough drops, and water. So we're ready to go. And here's Bijou. Hi, Bijou.
Hello.
We'll just wait till you're seated, and then we'll go. Item number 2, adopt draft minutes as presented or amended. The draft minutes of 8/28, and then the 2 community input forum minutes, 9/10 and 9/28. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make that a motion, as long as nobody has any corrections.
Moved by Patel. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Craig. Is there any discussion of the minutes? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Motion to accept correspondence, and we've had a fair number of people that have corresponded with us, and this newest one today was that Kelly laid on our desk was from Karen Cubby. We thank her for that. And then we have other additional correspondence that we have received since the public input forum. So thanks to all those who have sent those in and have registered with us.
I'll move to accept the correspondence.
I can second.
Moved by Hayek, seconded by Kuchera to accept the correspondence. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Okay, item 4, staff response to commission questions previously posed regarding Article 8. Mr. City Attorney?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So hopefully you've all received my October 3rd memo addressing the 2 matters you assigned me, and I'll stop there for now because the next agenda item addresses the 3rd matter I addressed in my memo, which has to do with the use of the word "they." But we'll wait till we get there. So the 2 matters you may recall that you tasked me at your August 28th meeting with proposing to you is language to ensure that the language in 8.01 mirrors the language in 7.05B as it relates to election timing. As I mentioned in my memo, in lieu of kind of using a rather wordy response each time, listing all the various timing requirements that are found in 7.05, I just tracked it back to 7.05B. Both to save words and to ensure that it would remain consistent in the future should there ever be a change to 7.05 in the instance of someone forgetting that we should also change 8.01. I would certainly be happy to answer any questions or try to address any concerns you folks have with the proposed language.
How's that look?
I think it looks good.
Pardon me?
Looks good.
Okay,
Good
great.
solution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, then to the second page, this was a little more straightforward. You had asked Kelly and myself to capitalize A in article, C's in council and charter, and S's in section when referring to sections of the charter, but not when referring to sections in Iowa code, to be consistent with citation rules with the Iowa City Code. We have done so, and those changes appear in the working draft available on the city website to members of the public and yourself.
Okay, thank you. Item number 5. I'm sorry, is it, hold on here, is that where we are? Item number 5, review of the city charter, use of "they." You're on, Eric.
Go ahead.
You're ready.
Thank you. So when we were at the first public input forum, a member of the public And I'm not 100% certain in my memory as to who it was, but I believe it was a former chair of this commission in a prior decade, had raised this issue as to the use of the word "they," understanding the intent and purpose to eliminate the he and she for those who are maybe non-binary and to be more inclusive. Both he and I are fully in embracing that idea. But his concern was that it might imply that the requirements laid out in 7.03 for affiance, that is, for the affidavit of the circulator, might imply that it would be more than one person signing that affidavit, when in fact, I believe it needs to be a single person, obviously, I mean, one person. And so I propose to change the "they" to "the elector," because it needs to be an eligible elector who is doing the certification, so as to avoid, hopefully, any confusion about whether there can be more than one person signing that affidavit per paper.
That sounds like a good change.
I would agree to move that forward to the draft. Thank you for putting that together for
Yeah.
us.
Good.
Okay.
Can someone just, whether it's your office or anyone else, I just want to make sure there aren't any other sections of the
Yeah.
charter where we run into that singular plural
Sure.
problem?
We can look.
Yeah.
Good.
Because we did request that change throughout the document, so.
I'm sorry.
We did request that change throughout the document, so
Yeah.
I would worry that we missed it somewhere else
Right.
too.
So,
that's a
yeah,
good
Commissioner
point.
Hayek's suggestion
Yeah.
is a good one for that
Yeah,
reason.
that'd be great. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay. Item number 6 is review current proposed amendments to the city charter. I'm assuming we just want to start at the top and get consensus on what we've proposed. Is that correct, Mr. City
We
Attorney?
could. I have one matter to bring
Yes.
to the attention. I'll make some introduction, and then I'll distribute a draft of some language that I have present or will be presenting to hopefully address it. That's an issue raised by Karen Franklin in her correspondence, already accepted by the commission earlier this evening. She pointed to section 2.12 for prohibitions. You may recall this is the language that we worked with to ensure that council members don't interfere with the supervision of city employees, with the exception of the three of us who are appointed directly by the council. However, her concern had to do in subsection B with the last sentence, and I'll go one sentence before that, just so we have a full picture. What we changed it to, or what I should say, is the current proposed draft from this commission to the council, is that we say as follows: with the exception of powers provided in section 2.08, that's the section that says that the three employees I mentioned are appointed, and that the chief of police and chief and fire must be confirmed, although the city manager does the hiring. Continuing on, a council member may not dictate in any manner the appointment or removal of a city employee, period. So far, so good. Here's her concern. The next language is, however, the council may express its views to the appointing authority pertaining to the appointment or removal of such employee. Now, when we discussed that previously, and it's probably me who drafted that language, so I'll fall on the sword for it being too vague in that regard, we were thinking of trying to find a quick and concise way to describe the three of us, the city attorney, the city manager, and the city clerk, and referring to, or having council speak to one of us as in considering them the appointing authority. The problem is that hypothetically, if you had a council member who drove by a streets project and was upset with, employee John Smith that they saw out there, and they wish to raise their concerns with employee John Smith, the appointing authority is not Jeff Fruin, because Jeff Fruin doesn't hire people on the streets crew directly. Of course, it's, the street superintendent or kind of sub-levels of supervision. And so Karen's concern, and I think it's a fair one, is that this language might lead some, including council members, to think that they should be calling, in my hypothetical, the street superintendent as opposed to Jeff. Of course, they should be going to the top of the chain to the people they appoint. That's the whole point, is that council member input should go through the 3 people who they hire and fire directly, not to subsets. So what I did, and I'll pass around copies. Actually, maybe I'll just keep one for myself and give one to, or the stack to Commissioner Hayek to circulate, if that's okay. Yep. Okay, 2. Let's see if I counted right. Is there?
Just enough.
So the present draft is on the top of the page, as you can see, and what I propose is at the bottom. And what I did was make reference to the council appointee, making it clear that we're talking only about those 3 employees who are appointed directly by the council. In so doing, I reworked the sentence a little bit to, as you'll see, to read, however, the council may express its views pertaining to the appointment or removal of such employee to the council appointee under whom the employee works.
How's that sound? I think it's fine.
I think it makes it more clear, and I like, thank you for all your work to do that.
Sure.
I think it's better, but I'm not sure it's very clear to
Here.
others what you're referring to when you talk about
The council
the
appointee.
council appointees.
Mhm. Do you think we should include a definition of council appointee elsewhere so as to make that more clear?
Well, yeah, I agree with Susan. I mean, if, the section on appointments is 2.08, and there are references to council appointments, but there are also references to appointments of the chief of police or the fire chief appointed by the city manager, who in turn is appointed by the city council, and I would just worry about some confusion there. I don't know if that's intended to include.
No, it's not, because the chief of police and the chief of the fire department are still appointed by the city manager. So it was not my intent
Yeah.
to suggest that if there's an issue with a police officer, let's say, that the council member should contact the police chief. I don't think that's what was intended.
And why is it the council rather than a council member? When the first sentence refers to council member, I feel it's a much stronger statement if it's
Yeah.
coming from the council.
Right, well, because there was originally a distinction, and I think we were trying to keep it, and that's that there is a difference between a council member and the council. That is, if a council member, we don't want them to individually be allowed to dictate, be contacting folks about the appointment or removal of city employees. However, we do want to allow for the council, a majority of the council, that is, if at least 4 of them feel that they want to express their views about an appointment, that we want to leave that door open. We do not want to leave the door open for just one council member to reach out and express their views in the way that's described.
Yeah, I agree that I don't fully understand what council appointee under whom the employee works.
Yeah. Well, do you think that that would be better served by using a different term that would be more clear here, or by simply creating a definition for council appointee either here or elsewhere?
I think sometimes if it can be directly there and somebody doesn't have to go look for a definite, if language would work, that would be
For
clear.
purposes of this section, council appointee means the city manager, the city clerk, and the city attorney, something like that, and just add it on to an additional sentence.
Yeah.
If you just note those 3, just
Yeah.
highlight them again.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just thinking about process.
Yeah.
If the council is doing what it says in the first sentence, how would you even put something on a city council agenda for the whole council to discuss it that pertains exactly to what you're talking about in the first sentence. Because you're probably going to be talking about job performance instead of appointment or removal of any city.
Would it potentially have to be done in a closed session?
Did you say in the first sentence or the second sentence?
Well, in the first sentence, you
Yeah.
say, "They may not dictate in
Right.
any manner
Right.
the appointment or removal of any city employee.
Yeah.
However, the council may express its views." So they would have to put on their agenda that, you know,
Well, right, but they would probably just note up a closed session for a personnel matter, and then they would go in the closed session, and then they would instruct either the city manager, the city clerk, or myself that say, we've got some concerns about your employee, whoever's employee it is, and we think you should do something about it.
I don't think as a practical matter it's ever been public, per se. Public, in a public forum that I can ever remember.
Right, I don't think we would want that.
No, that's exactly right. You want to protect.
Yeah, the only hesitation is that it usually has to be the employee who requests the closed session.
Correct.
They don't have to. They can say,
Right.
you know what, air my dirty laundry, feel free.
Sure.
In which case, okay.
So how's everybody feel?
So just a question for my understanding. In the original text, it had, however, the council may express its views to the city manager pertaining to the appointment. And we thought that was too narrow because there are other parties that have this type of power. Could we list those specific roles or say to the city manager, city attorney, city clerk as appropriate or something? And just, it's not that exhaustive of a list.
Yeah. I consider that, and we can.
Okay.
My concern was that it would be, more wordy, and that's, maybe that's okay. Not only in listing the three positions, but also adding the as relevant or the, employee for
Yeah.
whom, to identify. Because, if the council is unhappy with one of my employees, they can't go talk to Kelly about it because,
Yeah.
she doesn't have any authority over my employee, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Seems like you could just sort of, after what you had proposed to the council appointee, you just put in parentheses, i.e. manager, clerk, or attorney, or city manager, city clerk, or city attorney,
Yeah.
just in parentheses.
Yep, mhm.
And that would limit how much extra verbiage you're,
And still making it more clear to the layperson who hasn't been.
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay. Yeah, come back with that. And
Consensus there?
yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So while we're on the subject of Karen Franklin's helpful note, she also pointed out what she considers an inconsistency between B and C of section 2.12 with the language we added in C.
Right. I spoke with Karen about that this morning, and what we just discussed is the inconsistency that she was
Okay,
concerned
all right,
with.
I want to make sure she's.
Appointing authority, she was reading as hiring manager, which
Yes.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes, she was concerned that, in the hypothetical I gave, that the council would go to the wrong appointee, so to speak.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's start on the, I guess we just start at the preamble where and I think at this point we'd like to get some concurrence and some consensus on those. And as you know, in line items 8 and 9, those are going to be separate, those discussions regarding the council districts and the mayor. That's going to be a separate discussion that we'll have. Whether we start tonight or not, it depends on our time, but I think that's what we'll have. We'll have that time to take that out and discuss it separately. I think it's enough importance that we've
Yeah.
heard from the public, heard from each one of us, and I think that we'd be well advised to do that. But this way we can get through what we have general agreement on and
Yeah.
get that in, put the blessing for that, and then we'll come back to the other if that sounds okay.
Yeah, and what I would like to add is discussion on ranked choice voting, just more as information rather than to add it on. My feeling, I really am a strong supporter of ranked choice voting, but my fear is that if we have written documents that Iowa City wants ranked choice voting, Des Moines will immediately
Not
say,
legal.
no, we are eliminating ranked choice voting. But I think it could be a very informative discussion.
So currently, state law does not allow ranked choice voting, correct?
Right.
Okay. So how does our discussion, what you're wanting to do possibly is have it shown in the charter that we would consider it, or how would you, what are you talking about?
Well, mainly is just to have a informational discussion with ranked choice voting, just so hopefully Des Moines will come around and see ranked choice voting as a positive thing. And so that way, this group and anybody who watches it online will know what it is and how the advantages and disadvantages of it.
My understanding on ranked choice, and Eric, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's not allowed for under Iowa law, but it's not expressly prohibited. There was legislation proposed that explicitly said ranked choice voting is not allowed, and it did not advance in the last session. So, and Jennifer does raise a good point in which ideas that come out of Johnson County tend to be rather quickly prohibited by the state legislature.
Yes.
We saw that with the local minimum wage, a couple of other things.
But I think it could be a useful discussion.
It might, but I don't know in this context if it would be.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Could we be a little less specific and don't use the words ranked choice voting, but insert some language that says that the city is supportive of initiatives that increase voter participation and will explore options, all legal options, or I don't know, something like that.
Do you think that's something that should be in the charter?
Well, that's what, that
That's the
is
thing
my
I-
question. But it is a message I would like to
Sure.
send with this charter. And even, I mean, I would be happy, I mean, I would find it acceptable to include some strong language in a cover letter that went with the charter to the council that said, you know, we had discussions about this, and everyone seems to be, you know, everyone seems to be in favor of doing things to improve voter participation, improve more candidates putting themselves forward to run for office. And in furtherance of that goal, you know, the council should have something in its strategic plan about voter engagement and voter initiatives and educating. You know, I sat and registered kids at City High for a couple days 2 weeks ago, and, you know, most of them don't know a whole lot about government. It's not something they're learning in school, and I don't know how to get teenagers to want to learn about government, but I think that the city, you know, when you look at all the comments we have, I feel that that is one thing that is underlying them, many of them, is what can we do to increase voter participation? And I don't think that that's a question that we've really, it's not in our purview for this commission maybe, but it should be, you know, we've listened to this input and we hear what's behind it, and I think it's a message we should send to the council. I mean, if others agree, that whatever can be, that the council should have a serious conversation about what can be done. And there's lots of options. I mean, you could have another commission that had a limited number of meetings or something that, what is possible, you know, it could go on forever and you don't want that, but, you know, there's a lot of kinds of initiatives out there that different states do and that have not yet been made illegal by our
Yes.
legislature.
Well, I think your ideas are good. I just don't know that it's within this group's purview, or if it's something we really should take up. I mean, I've got to have more information myself, personally, and I think the
Now,
idea, we want more.
Would you agree that if it was in a cover letter when we send this to the council?
Well, I'd like to see what that letter says, and
Yeah, of course.
all that good stuff. I mean,
Susan, are
And
you
I
referring
would-
specifically to ranked choice voting, or are you referring to the value of increasing voter participation?
No, I'm saying, take anything specific off the table and say, you know, explore what opportunities the city has to increase voter participation, and that's something the city should, that through our conversations and through all the public feedback that we got, we feel it's very important to many people on the commission and who commented to increase voter participation. And it's a topic that we did not address because we don't think it fits in the charter. However,
I think we all agree
urge the
with that.
council to.
Yeah.
Yes, I think we all agree with that. I'll leave it up to somebody else to
Yeah.
compose something, and we can talk about it.
Are we even allowed to write a letter of recommendation to the city council about that?
Sure.
I'm sorry, are you
Are
allowed?
we allowed to write a letter of recommendation to the city council just about something that the charter feel strongly about, even though it's not?
Sure. Well, traditionally, at the end of the work of the Charter Review Commission, they submit their proposed changes along with a report. And that report discusses typically the rationale for the changes that they made, and also usually lists the changes that were considered but rejected. For example, oftentimes that includes, we thought about the election of the mayor, and we chose to leave it where it is. We thought about the district setup, we chose to leave it where it is. But there were important discussions, and so they should be noted. So if this commission wanted to say, and we like the idea of exploring ranked choice voting or other steps by which we could increase voter engagement and participation, sure, you could include something like that.
Right. And I think that probably is in our purview because those discussions then would have to be implemented eventually, right? So if you finally have a plan, you might have to implement them by amending the charter or something like that.
Right, and remember that an amendment to the charter can be done, I'll say mid-decade, that's probably the wrong way of thinking of it. It's not limited to when you folks, are meeting. The
Right.
council can do it at any time. And so if there's a change in state law, for example, that makes it more clear that that's
Exactly.
available, you know, they could make that change then if they wished.
Yeah, I'd be open to some sort of generalized encouragement to the city council in connection with what we submit. I agree, I'm a little reluctant to include specifics. I've read about ranked choice randomly and in pretty nerdy political theory pieces that I've read online. I don't know much about it.
I,
I don't
I'm
either.
But my
sorry.
point is, it's one of many multiple systems, and it might be a great idea. I don't know. I don't know about the legality of it, but I think what we would maybe just do is encourage the council to promote voter participation. The good news is, in Iowa City, we vote at considerably higher levels than our neighboring suburbs, so we should pat ourselves a little bit on the back for that. It's not high enough. But frankly, I think all the local municipalities in connection with the auditor office ought to work on some sort of joint effort to boost it
Agree.
countywide.
And next year's a good opportunity for that.
The Democratic Party has been using ranked choice voting for their different elections, and I have I'm part of the Rules and Nomination Committee, so I have actually ran ranked choice voting.
What is it? Explain that to me. You have, this is for officers or,
Okay, in the.
I'm just curious.
The Democratic Party
Right.
has conventions.
Right?
Okay, and we elect like electors in presidential.
Committee
We
members.
elect committee members,
Okay.
and so there's a number of people
Oh,
that we
okay.
elect. So, and we require 50% in
Okay.
order to be elected.
Okay.
So rather than doing it over and over again, we started using ranked choice voting. So one of our first is you rank ducks just as a way to teach people how to do it. And I found that to be very easy to do because I actually entered the votes that they have ranked choice. And so what I'm saying is I have a good understanding of how it works because I've actually done it.
Okay.
There's also some very good, there's a statewide group who puts on presentations, and my neighbor is one of the people. They are focused on that, and they do a very excellent job of explaining it. So we would have that resource. The council would have that particular resource that would really help them a lot on that particular subject.
I'm sorry to interject. I should have done so earlier and not participated in this myself, but I'm not sure that this clearly fits into any of our current agenda topics. I wonder if this is something we would like to discuss further, if we could just notice it up for next meeting, and then we can talk a lot
That's
more.
what I was asking to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was
I would
what
agree.
I was asking to do, is to note it.
That's
Yeah,
a
okay.
good
We
point.
wanna- Is it the consensus of the commission that we'd like to have
Talk
that
a
as a
little bit
topic
more.
at our next meeting?
That's good.
Sure. Okay.
Yes, that's all I wanted was to
I think
have
the topic
it
needs to
noted.
be voter engagement
Sure.
and,
Yes,
and
broader.
not
A
just ranked
broader,
choice
yes,
votes.
understood.
Right.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay. All righty. Let's get started with the proposed amendments. We can go to the preamble. And are people comfortable with what has been proposed in the preamble? And the
So
amendment?
there was a comment made at a public forum to, and it wouldn't take too many words, to, at the end of the sentence, our unique environment, again, in parentheses, to define environment. So it would be our air, our land, our water, just because there are many different, definitions of environment. So they asked to, because what we mean in environmental stewardship is our air, our water, our land, and I don't know, but to just add a few words to define environment in that sentence.
Well, I believe one of the challenges might be in that the council has said previously that air quality is not a jurisdiction with which they have any control, right? I mean, as
Right.
part of the conversation, and so to put it in the charter, if legally, it can be a nod to something, but I understand if council's in the position where they can't do anything about
About air.
air quality.
Right, I was called out in that person's comments from P and Z, and the other part of that comment was, we have no control. That is not.
Over air. Mhm.
That's not part of anything we can do anything about. I was speaking for the Planning and Zoning Commission.
So-
We're here to talk about the land.
Land.
Not the
Oh,
air.
okay. What about the water? We have no real control over that because it comes from someplace else and it goes. So whatever it is, we do have control over. I think that, we just need to add those words so that people understand that's what we're talking about. Does that make sense?
I think that this is broader, a little bit broader than just air, land, and water. And I like it being broader. That
Well, I
Is
think it
it-
sums it up very nicely.
Does it mean social environment? Maybe it does. Does it mean social environment?
yeah,
Cultural
to me it
environment.
does.
Okay.
To
Yeah.
me, it does. And I understand that her request was to call that out more, but to me, it narrows it, and I I like this language better.
Everybody agree?
Yeah.
Mr. City Attorney?
Well, I was just going to add just a point of clarification. The city does actually require compliance with emissions of air quality standards. But the point was, and I think this came up at that earlier discussion, is those standards are all set by other bodies,
Right.
the state,
Yes.
the federal government. It's not as though the city can just say, well, we think it should be different. We feel like we're preempted in that regard.
Right.
We can always do better.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should always strive to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, so I see what you're saying. Well, we do want to think of it in the broader sense, and then we just might want to respond to the person to say, we did mean it in this broader sense, so that they understand that.
I feel like we are responding to that with this public forum, just in my
Oh,
opinion.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I mean, this is how
Right.
we're responding to
Okay,
her, if
so-
that's okay. I mean, because otherwise we go down the road of responding to people.
To
and
everybody, yeah.
We'll never
Yes.
get that
It'll
done.
Yeah, yeah.
get longer and longer and longer,
Right.
and
Okay, everybody comfortable
Laundry
with
list.
with the language we have? All right,
Yeah.
we'll consider that approved. Let's see here, we really don't,
Definitions.
I'm trying to see if there's appointments, the city manager shall appoint the chief of police department, chief of the fire department. That's been there before, hasn't it?
Yep.
I need a grammar check on preamble, section 3. Is principals ALS or LES? I always-
LES.
If it's a person, he's your pal.
LES, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe that should be LES.
it ALS?
Yeah, it's right.
It should be LES.
Last sentence. Oh, okay, I don't have it, yeah, I don't have
It's a
that full
rule,
thing,
it's
yeah.
LE.
So,
And if he's your pal, he's the
Right.
school principal.
Okay, Deborah, it's wrong there.
That's how I remember.
That's me too.
Yes.
I just know I get uncomfortable when I see those two words.
I know. Pick the right one.
He's up.
Good catch.
Yeah, that was a good catch. Nice job.
Thank my
you
city
look at something
high
so many
English
times.
teacher, Mrs. Bergier,
We'll make that change.
years ago.
We're good to go?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Got all of the definitions.
I don't see anything that's,
So we fixed 2.12 already, right? Are we that
Right.
far yet?
we're moving right along.
Hey, Eric, on 2.08 D, you've got subject to approval of the city council, and I think we're generally referring to it as just the council. I don't know if you want to knock city out.
Yeah.
No, on D, 2.0,
yeah,
2.08
Approval
D.
of the
consistency is a
council.
good thing.
Yeah, we can make that change.
Okay. And we've talked about prohibitions, we've been through that. And the nomination, the changes made there, everybody's comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Through the elections, so. City manager, anybody have anything that needs to be changed or explained? Everybody okay there?
Yep.
Yep.
Section 5, boards, commissions, and committees. We added some language there. Everybody comfortable with that? Council shall consider the available demographics of board and commission members and applicants in making their appointments in an effort to make appointments reflective of the community. Everybody comfortable with that?
Yep.
Okay, good. Campaign contributions, I think we're all on board with that.
Change anything really there?
Back on 5.01A, I'm sorry to be a grammarian here, but the council shall consider blah, blah, blah in making its appointments. I don't know, as opposed to making their appointments, making its appointments,
Making
I don't know.
appointments.
or in making appointments, that, even better.
Oh, I see.
Just maybe strike the word
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
Strike the word there.
Yeah, John.
yes.
I'm so glad you're on here, Matt, because you're a great wordsmith. Thank you. Okay, we're at, if everybody's okay, we're at initiative and referendum.
Wait.
Boards and commissions, we've taken care of that. Okay. I don't think we have anything on initiative or referendum.
Not anything major.
No. We're good there. And we changed the dates to,
Yeah, reflecting some of the changes at the state.
okay? And then we're at Article 8, Charter Amendments and Review. Everything look favorable there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Item number 7, discuss community input forums. I thought the forums went well. I thought we had as many people as we might have expected. Those that spoke, I thought were informed and were very, very concerned and then wanting to make their views known. And we thank them for that and taking the time to appear before us. And all of us have heard from various individuals, I'm sure. Some people didn't want to come to the public forum. They sent their correspondence. But I think the forums went well. I think that's just, I think you've got to expect you're not going to get a groundswell of opinion. We fly under the radar, quite truthfully. And
I did want to talk about, just bring up something, because I feel it needs to be corrected, at least the way I heard what she said, and that was a person at the 27th, 28th, whatever day that was, the Saturday forum here, when she was advocating for a change in how we do districts, but she said something about, and in 50 years, these districts haven't even changed, and certainly they have, but I don't think she was aware that, in fact, the boundaries of the district change, every 10 years?
Every 10 years.
Based on the census. And so I just want to have a public record that in fact,
good point.
we have kept the district, the populations in the districts similar to each other.
I think it's within about 1% at the last. I've worked
Right.
on that the last 3 cycles in the auditor's office. I mean, we've kept the same basic format for the districts with a downtown and north side and east side, and then a west side and south side. But the boundaries, particularly through Midtown, have changed every decade.
Right. I felt that was not correct, but I wasn't in a position to correct her or clarify what she said if she was wrong.
So John, when the auditor office does that,
Yeah.
I mean, are you literally like grabbing a block here or losing a block of residences there in order to maintain the, how does that work?
A few blocks at a time. The main thing is we've got to get rid of overpopulated precincts. We've had a lot of growth on the west side. All 3 of the cycles that I worked on it, we had to add a precinct on the far west side this last decade. We've been consulting with the city. We got feedback that we wanted a number of precincts that was divisible by 3, which is why we increased from 24 to 27. We added a precinct in what we anticipated would be each of the council districts. they had 4 different people within the office, each kind of work up their own maps and present them to the city, and the one that was chosen happened to be the one I drew. But, and then, well, from there, once we got kind of a set of precincts set, then we shuffled precincts around. We had fewer puzzle pieces than the census blocks until we got something that was within, I think, like I said, I think it was about 1% between the 3 districts.
Under the current system, you've got 3 districts with 9 precincts.
Three
each.
districts with 9 precincts each. Last decade, it was 3 districts with 8 precincts each.
And just to be clear, that's presented by and proposed by the auditor's office, but then ultimately approved by the city council.
Yeah, it's council's choice.
Good. Okay.
And if they choose to work with the auditor's office, well, then that's fine. That's good.
And that's all
We'll
based
always
on,
be choosing to work with the
Yeah.
that's based on the census data every 10
Based on
years.
the census data that we got. No, it was later this cycle because census time landed right during peak COVID, so.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that,
Yes.
2020.
That's a good point, Susan, that you made. Thank you.
I think there's, at least it was my understanding, that there's a different question that we are not ready to answer, and that is, should we have more districts?
Right, but
Yeah,
that's, I mean, we
but
have that
yeah.
on the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on the community input forums? Before we start on item 8, I don't think we're going to get very far tonight because this is going to involve some extent, but I think we should start the discussion. I want to just say personally that I certainly respect what everybody here on the table is proposing, your thought that's have gone into it, and this is where now the rubber meets the road and we make those decisions going forward. And if I personally happen to disagree with you, it's not because I don't respect your opinions, but I think that we're all here for a purpose, and that's to send the recommendations that we find a consensus on back to the council for their consideration. So,
I just have a procedural question.
well, sure.
What if we don't come to consensus because there's strong views? What happens? I
Well,
just want to know.
Okay, my position would be that if we have, there's 9 of us.
Yeah.
And if we have 5 people in favor, that's consensus, but we can, in the narrative, we can indicate that there was robust discussion, robust debate, and that there was a disagreement necessarily, or there was another avenue that people thought we should go. And that would be my feeling anyway. I think we can let our, they get these minutes and they can watch us too, so they'll know what we're talking about. But yeah, I think we're going to arrive at consensus. I certainly hope so. That's what we were charged to do.
And I think also, to go along with what you're saying, John, we were all tasked to bring forward our own opinions, but really we are adjuncts of the public and their feedback, and that's why we ask for their feedback. And so we have to remember that although we may have strong opinions, each of us, really we are the adjunct to the public, and that is our goals for this commission.
Good point.
I only asked because this is my first time around, and when we said all of our other discussions, have we come to consensus, it gave the impression that we all, my impression was that, and it's the way LEAK does consensus too, is that most of the people need to come to it, more than like 5, more than a majority. I'm just telling you, I
Right.
thank you for your input on how we're going to go with consensus. When I said I don't think we'd come
Right.
to a consensus, what I meant was that I don't think we'll come to the point where everybody agrees.
We're not going to be unanimous on these two items, and we've all known
Yes.
that for several months. I think that we have this discussion at the county when it's budget time, where the supervisors, trade off and discuss and argue, sometimes quite vigorously. And then in the end, the expectation is you're going to support the final product, even if you don't agree with every line item in it. And I think that's something we can all agree to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say, in
That's a good
reading
point.
minutes from previous charter commissions, there have been votes on key issues, right? There wasn't a unanimous consensus
Right.
when it's been gone forward previously.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and just,
No, I appreciate the question. That's why we're here, have some robust debate. And so let's start. We've got about 10 minutes. We're going to go to 6:30 and
We're
then.
going to solve it.
we're not going to solve it in 10 minutes.
I've got my City High sweatshirt on because they're playing volleyball tonight. And if they win tonight, they win their division, so.
All right.
I mean, I know that shouldn't take precedence necessarily, but as you know, I'm a City High partisan, so. But anyway, this is, the council districts is obviously an issue that has been in every discussion of every charter commission that I'm aware of. And this time, I think we have certainly, there's people that delineated their position, and it does take on more importance for us to discuss. And one thing I would like to address right away, from Commissioner Denning's memo to us about the University of Iowa.
Oh,
And
right.
I think we
Yes.
should take care of that one. I thought we'd taken care of that earlier, that we decided that we weren't going to carve out a necessarily a district that, not that we don't
Not a-
care.
District for the students, but
Well-
an ed,
You're talking about adding a council member, right?
Ex
a
officio.
ex
Ex
officio
officio.
non-voting
Yeah.
council
And
member.
I think at this point, I would not be inclined to support that necessarily, but know full well that they are certainly a significant part of our community. But as I've said many times, the interest level is not nearly as great as if they're living in this community and paying taxes and supporting that. And not that some of them aren't, but I just don't feel that it's my personal opinion is that it's necessary to have that individual. We have a liaison right now, and I don't know how well that's working, but I don't know what the rest of you feel about that situation at this point.
I think we talked initially, if I recall, about that they have their own body of governance, and so that the liaison and their, own body of governance was helpful in collaborating with the city, is what I recall from our conversation.
And they certainly are free to get involved.
Yeah.
That's never been a problem. And, they were involved in the 21 issue with the bars, and we.
What, I just, for point of information, what is the difference between a ex-official council member and a liaison? Because
I think the ex officio would actually be at the table and would have not a vote, but would have a place at the table, if I'm not.
Yeah, I think in the normal usage of those terms, it would be that they would be part of the discussion but would not have a vote. Whereas the liaisons at present make a short presentation of their own choosing at every work session, every council work session. They have a designated period of time where they come forth and let the council know whatever it is that they'd like them to know, whether it's just things that are going on in the life of the student body or even things that they would like to see. And typically, they also arrange for a town hall on the campus where we have a joint meeting. That is, the city council goes and participates in their student senate meeting and hears what they have to say.
I've got a question I should know the answer to, but how is the liaison selected? Is it by application to the council? Is it by student government?
I think student government selects their liaison,
Uh-huh.
tells us who it will be or they will be for the year.
Okay.
The other thing we discussed too was a definition of a student, right? So in our community, we have University of Iowa students. We also have Kirkwood Community College students. We also have online students. We have lots of different students when we talk about engaging students into our community as ex officio spots. So I think we just have to be really careful. I want them engaged, but if they would like to engage, I would like them to apply for a seat. Run for a seat.
No, that's right. And there are some that certainly are interested.
Yeah.
And I say if they.
Yeah, run for a
I'm
council
sorry,
seat.
I didn't mean to.
No, that's good. So I was wondering if we have these kind of letters of recommendation. What I would like to know is what's happening in Ames. Do they find this, because they have such a person, and do they find it useful or valuable, or how does it work? Yeah. So just recommend that they sort of check into that and see if.
And Cedar Falls as well.
And Cedar Falls,
Yeah.
to see what their experience has been.
I mean, I would say that, and I was part of this on my time on council, that the current system, the student liaison system, works well. First, the U of I student government selects who they want to send, and it's either one or two people. In my experience, you're right that it's limited to the University of Iowa. That's an issue, but that they participate in work sessions with the council. They weigh in at the formal meetings on any agenda item they choose to. And I'm not aware of any request from any of the student groups at Iowa, whether it's student government or anybody else, to make a change to our system. You know, there's limited space up there at the dais. They're kind of crammed in there already. And I just think if you're in the audience or you're watching the TV broadcast, I think it's confusing to look up there and know or not know that somebody up there doesn't vote. And I think that's a consideration. The student liaisons sit, I mean, they're at the work sessions, but during the formal meetings, they sit in the front row typically, or in the audience.
Yeah, it could depend. It's kind of wherever they want to sit. But
Right.
when they come to offer their presentation, they come
They're
right
at
to
the
the
podium.
podium and speak directly to the council. Yeah.
Which is nice, and
Yeah.
they're clearly representing the interest of student
Well,
government. in those
that's
moments.
good. Then we have that input. So,
That would be my
yeah, I
take
think
on
that sounds good. Everybody okay with that?
I have a question, sorry. You mentioned Kirkwood. Is Kirkwood still part of Iowa City Sensitive?
No, but there are online students, same as what I was saying about
Right.
any online student.
And
Purdue, anywhere,
Yeah.
I was an online student. I'm a current University of Iowa student in the DMP program, but I am online, so I'm all hybrid, so I'm not physically going to the building. There's lots of students, lots of colleges in our town that people are attending for online.
Okay.
and we have 2 high schools in the Iowa City city limits, so.
Yep.
Where does it stop? I like the liaison, but I would not approve changing that at this time. It would be good to know how Ames
Is working.
does theirs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure Cedar Falls has one.
I don't think they
I did
do.
see
I'm not aware they do either, but
I really don't see the big difference between the two from how you.
One votes and one doesn't.
No.
No,
Oh, excuse
ex
me,
officio
one
doesn't
sits in
vote.
the-
Sits.
Sits with the council and engages in all conversations and about, to me, they do everything but vote. They do everything
Right.
but vote,
that's correct.
which to me lends them an unelected person, an air of, that they
Authority.
shouldn't have, that they have not earned through being elected.
And observing council meetings, even if it does come down to a vote, the more people who are participating in the discussion, it can change the course of the discussion, right? So whether or not it's a final vote,
Right.
having somebody who's not been elected able to comment and move discourse around every issue could pose some challenges.
Sure.
Right. And, I mean, that person is in the room, and boy, if there's something that affects the student population, they have access to tens of thousands of people who, if they want to, get something going,
And they have.
and they have.
So
So
keep
it's
that in
worked.
mind, yeah.
Back in the 70s, when there was a lot of student activism,
Yeah.
we had more participation.
Right.
I know when I ran for the council, we had students that were running then. So, you know, it's not unheard of. It's just that they don't have a base.
Interesting academic study of the how the 26th Amendment affected the three regions, towns in Iowa. What happened here was that we had a lot of candidates and they split the vote and didn't get through the primary. And in Cedar Falls, they elected a student mayor, and in Ames, they more or less blatantly suppressed the student vote.
They wouldn't do that, would they?
Well, probably not now, but.
Okay, well, it's 6:30. I think we'll wait till the next meeting. We'll start the discussion of the district council members. And Janine, thank you for your comments on that, and we'll get a chance to
And-
address those and address everybody else talking about districts.
And then a discussion on
Ranking?
Participation.
participation.
Voter
of
participation.
Sure, if they can have something ready for that.
Sure.
Okay, very good.
Community comment?
What's that?
Community comment?
Yes, indeed. Community.
I want to confirm the tentative meeting schedule first. I think that's on top of that on the agenda.
Thank you so much.
Just confirming.
Kelly was so good to give me these notes here, so
Better look at them.
I know I need help.
He's keeping us on schedule.
We have Thursday, October 24th, Tuesday, November 12th. I don't want anybody to get the impression I'm trying to push us to make quick decisions, but
Job to do.
it would behoove us to keep working. That's why we probably are going to need 2 meetings in November, if that would work for people. And I know Thanksgiving, we're bumping up against that.
Yeah.
Kelly has Monday, November 25th is open. How are people's schedules there? Can you all check? And
Sure,
let's
my
just
calendar.
circle back to us.
I can't even think past November
Well,
5th.
I know your mind has got other.
World stops on November.
Yeah.
October 24th, that's going to be like a break for me compared to work.
I think we could go ahead and tentatively plan for the 25th, if the room's
Yeah.
available.
Let's do. And then in December, it would be nice if we could, if we have a couple meetings in December, if we're nearing conclusion, then we can send it on to the city council. That might be a goal. If we get there, great.
What was the goal, John? December 10th?
Okay, we've
To send
got
it on to council?
the council, that's December 10th, is a council meeting. So we've got Tuesday, the 13th is open, Tuesday, the 17th.
John, that's the 3rd.
Yep.
What's that?
It's the 3rd.
December 3rd.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was looking at your, yeah,
Yeah.
duh.
December 10th would be our December meeting, our first one, according to our,
Well, we
City
can't do it because
council,
that's the
they
council.
shifted
Yeah.
their schedule.
So
Oh, they
December,
shifted, okay.
how about December 3rd and 17th? We'll just tentatively put those in
3rd
there.
and 17th? Okay.
Well, just a second, I'm trying to catch up here. So November 25 tentatively,
Yes,
December 3rd.
Which is only a week
December
later, but-
3rd and December 17th.
November 25, you said?
You can give your Christmas list to,
And then, Chairman Ballmer, I do have a conflict on November 12th.
you do.
Yes, I'll be traveling to DC for work on November
I'll
12th.
take care of things for us.
I know, it's
Well, you
be a-
can leave your comments.
Be an interesting place to be at that time of year.
Yeah, should be fun.
3rd and 17th, so 2 Tuesdays instead of the Tuesday, Thursday
Yeah.
rotation.
Is that okay with everybody at this juncture?
Is that okay? Matt, are you?
Realizing that the holidays,
I've got something on the
November
afternoon of the
25th,
17th,
I don't-
but I think I can get here by 5:30.
November 25th, you got a problem, Jennifer?
I'm not sure,
Well,
but.
check it out. Yeah, just check it out. We'll see how flexible we can, realizing it's a difficult time of year to
Yeah.
get everybody's schedules meshing.
Oh, no, I was just wondering, since it's so close to, I keep forgetting what day.
So Thanksgiving
So hold on a second.
is the
If
Thursday,
you're not available
28th.
November 25th, is that right?
No, the 12th, so not
I'm sorry, the
Tuesday,
12th. Should we
November
be- Should we
12th.
look at a different date for that?
Well, that
So
might
that
be
we
a
can
thought.
ensure everybody
When
can
will you be
attend?
back, Mackenzie, or are you?
I'm out Tuesday through Thursday of that week.
So what about the?
What about Monday, the 11th?
It's Veterans Day.
Yeah,
That will not work for me.
11/11.
That's, yeah.
11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month.
When do you leave? That Tuesday?
Yeah, that Tuesday
Okay.
morning.
So how about Monday, the 11th?
It's Veterans Day.
Oh, that's right.
I
Okay.
mean, it doesn't bother me, but
Well,
they have a holiday.
do you?
Yes.
So you're off Veterans Day, is that correct? Yeah, I mean, if that, I'll respect that. If you can't, we'll try something else.
Yes, the city's closed.
Okay.
The whole city.
Any
Can I
chance
could I have the day off too then? Or- okay,
Thursday,
no.
November 7th? Would that work? I know I'm changing everybody's schedule. My apologies.
No, that's,
Thursday, November 7th. What is,
Isn't that, won't you have a problem because the election is?
I can make it.
Okay.
I will have gotten at least one
Oh
decent
my
night's
God, I might
sleep.
still have a hangover.
I will be.
how did,
Hopefully.
Like a psychological.
Does that work, Kelly? Do we have?
That's how it turns out.
I can check. Thursdays are heavily used.
Used in this room.
oh, are they?
room.
Okay.
I think we
Well.
probably should just keep it that way.
keep what?
I can
on
certainly
November
check
12th.
the rooms, like the first couple of weeks in November, and bring those dates back next time if there's anything
Why don't you
open.
do that, and then we'll see what the,
Thank you,
But I think in fairness,
Yes.
this is a pretty split group,
yeah.
obviously. And
I think we need
I think we
everybody.
owe it to ourselves as a collective group to try to have everybody
Right.
here.
Okay,
for the
yeah.
meetings going forward. think
I
that's
would
a fair
agree.
thing.
You know, these are issues that are front and
I
center.
drove back from Des Moines to be here tonight, so I agree.
Thank you.
I mean, Monday, the 18th is,
Of,
I mean, we'd have meetings back-to-back weeks, but,
Of November?
I can,
yeah, of
I
November.
think at this stage
I
of
could
the
do that.
process, that's okay.
I can check those first 3 weeks and bring open dates next time.
that would work for me.
Yes, that will.
Thank you.
So, did we come up with a date, or?
No, I'll bring back
Okay,
dates.
okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you,
Kelly.
everyone.
Okay.
But are we wanting to hold the 18th for all of our crazy busy schedules, just in case there's room available? Sounds like that works for everybody, if we can find a room.
November 18th, if I can hold it.
Molly, I think
Instead of
that's a
the
good idea.
12th.
My schedule is
Because I know
very
my
open.
schedule gets really busy this time of year, too.
Is there a rule about food? Because it's my birthday that day. I'll bring cupcakes.
Oh,
You
Okay.
Food is
betcha.
what is the?
Food is
money
welcome.
rule? How much
You
can she
bring-
Make up for us having you switch the meeting, everybody.
Consensus is that's a great idea.
Yes.
Cupcakes, yes.
Yes.
You want us to bring them? It's
No,
your
I will
birthday.
bring the cupcakes.
They're talking
Okay.
about maybe.
Unanimous feeling on
The
that
12th
one.
to the 18th.
Okay,
No
we're all
meeting
set?
on the
Okay, I
12th,
just
which is
have
good 'cause
one
I already
quick
double-booked that day.
thing. So next, on the next meeting would be the
October 24th. Right.
October 24th, which is not Halloween, so that's good.
There's something at the library
Okay.
that I wrote down.
So
All right.
One of our
we'll
late
talk
voting
about
nights.
Districts.
districts and elections and,
We may not get into the mayor, then we'll probably, the districts will take some time.
yeah, I kind of
we
like
might. I
starting with a discussion of, a light discussion of the elections that we have, just because that makes it, before we get heated.
I have a request, and and if it doesn't work that way in anybody else's mind, that we talk about the mayor before we talk about the districts. Because to me, the mayor, a decision about the mayor has a lot to do with how I think about the districts.
I had thought that originally myself, but I didn't know what the general feeling was of the group. That was my feeling, that.
I don't see the two decisions being connected, personally.
I would say that I do.
I do. I absolutely do.
I have a Zoom meeting I have to start pretty soon.
Okay.
Is it okay if one of us leaves? and that
So-
doesn't throw anything
the-
off?
I have no
You still have
problem
public
changing it.
Okay,
I'm okay with flipping it.
okay, let's do it.
Flipping it.
All right, Let's do it. That's what, the next meeting, we'll start the discussion of the direct election of mayor. All right?
Sounds good.
Item 11, community comment.
Nope, she left.
Appears that there's nobody here. Item 12, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Dees, seconded by Molly Abu. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank
John.
you.